Analysis of the film Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, 2004. Plot summary. Joel Barish, a quiet and emotionally reserved man, discovers that his ex-girlfriend, Clementine Kruczynski, has undergone a medical procedure to erase all memories of their relationship. Heartbroken, Joel decides to do the same. But as his memories are deleted one by one, he relives every moment, the good, the painful, and the deeply intimate. Inside his own mind, Joel fights against the procedure, trying to hide Clementine in forgotten corners of his memory so she won't disappear completely. What begins as an attempt to escape heartbreak becomes an emotional journey through love, loss, regret, and the fear of being alone. The choice to erase someone turns out to have unexpected consequences in both Joel's subconscious and in the real world. Strengths: deep, authentic performances. Jim Carrey delivers a surprisingly restrained and emotionally raw performance. Kate Winslet, vibrant and unpredictable as Clementine, creates the perfect counterbalance. Their chemistry feels real, messy, chaotic, and human. Inventive and emotionally driven direction. Michel Gondry uses practical effects, surreal transitions, and collapsing sets to portray the human mind in ways no other filmmaker has. Every visual idea reflects Joel's emotional state and the disintegration of his memories. Brilliant, painfully honest writing. Charlie Kaufman blends romance, psychology, and science fiction with astonishing precision. The script digs into insecurity, emotional dependency, and the difficulty of letting go with brutal honesty. Intelligent narrative structure. The story doesn't follow a traditional timeline. Instead, it moves through memories, dreams, and fragments of reality, forcing viewers to piece together the relationship the same way Joel tries to hold on to it. Powerful, emotional atmosphere. The soft, melancholic cinematography, paired with John Bryan's score, creates a sense of longing that lingers long after the movie ends. Weaknesses. The narrative structure may confuse some viewers. Its nonlinear approach and fragmented pacing require attention. Anyone expecting a straightforward romance may struggle to follow it. The surreal elements may alienate viewers. The dreamlike visuals and symbolic moments are essential, but people who dislike metaphor-heavy storytelling may find it overwhelming. The emotional intensity can be heavy. The film explores depression, regret, and self-sabotage, which can feel emotionally draining for some audiences. Fun facts about Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, 2004. Jim Carrey improvised several vulnerable moments. Although known for his comedic roles, Carrey asked the director to hold back anything comedic so he could stay in a more realistic emotional state. Kate Winslet saw Clementine as one of her most liberating roles. Playing someone unpredictable and emotionally volatile allowed her to step far outside her usual typecasting. Many of the effects are practical, not digital. Gondry preferred real camera tricks, fast cuts, and physically changing sets to represent Joel's collapsing memories. The title comes from an actual poem. Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind is a line from Eloisa to Abelard by Alexander Pope, which deals with heartbreak and the desire to forget. The film originally had a darker ending, and early versions suggested that Joel and Clementine would repeat the cycle of erasing and rediscovering each other endlessly. Several scenes were shot on real New York locations. This adds authenticity and helps ground the surreal storytelling in something emotionally relatable. Lessons from Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, 2004. Pain is part of love. The film shows that flaws, frustrations, and conflicts are inseparable from real relationships. Erasing the past doesn't solve anything. Even without their memories, Joel and Clementine are drawn back to each other, suggesting that some connections run deeper than memory. Running from emotions only delays healing. Joel tries to escape heartbreak by erasing Clementine, but the process forces him to confront his pain instead. Relationships require acceptance. Loving someone means accepting imperfections, theirs and your own. Vulnerability is necessary. Joel grows only when he stops hiding his feelings and faces what he has lost. Our memories shape who we are. Erasing them means erasing a part of ourselves. Box office and ratings. Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind had a budget of $20 million and grossed approximately $74 million worldwide. A strong result for a film with an unconventional structure and an art house sensibility. The film received 92% approval from critics and 94% from audiences on Rotten Tomatoes. It's one of those rare cases where critics and general viewers align almost perfectly, recognizing the film's originality, emotional depth, and lasting cultural impact. Now here's our opinion.
Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind is one of those rare films that manages to be deeply emotional while still being intellectually provocative. It blends sci-fi, surrealism, and romance to explore something extremely human, the desire to escape pain. But as we follow Joel trying to erase Clementine from his mind, the film shows that erasing suffering also means erasing the things that shape who we are. When I first heard about this movie, I was surprised. I had no idea it even existed, and it had already been out for years. What surprised me even more was the fact that Jim Carrey, an actor known almost exclusively for comedy, was starring in a serious drama. That alone made me curious. But something else caught my attention. Even though the movie had been out for a long time, I had never heard anyone talk about it. No friends, no social media, nothing. So I didn't know what to expect. Still, I saw a few people online calling it an underrated masterpiece, so I decided to give it a try. The beginning of the movie is actually pretty interesting. I liked how Joel and Clementine meet. Joel is quiet, introverted, very reserved, and Clementine is the opposite, loud, spontaneous, unpredictable. For some reason, she's attracted to him. People say opposites attract, but I'm a bit skeptical about that. In real life, I think relationships work better when two people share similar energy and similar goals. That makes everything smoother. When people drift in different directions, friendships and relationships tend to drift too. Still, I kept watching and the movie remained interesting for a while. Eventually, the couple breaks up. They have a misunderstanding, but they still have strong emotional memories of each other. That's when Joel discovers a strange clinic, a place that can erase memories of a specific person. I found that concept fascinating. It's important to point out that Joel only goes to this clinic because Clementine went first. She erased all memories of him, so he decides to do the same. It becomes a kind of emotional retaliation, or a way for both of them to move on without being haunted by the past. But from that point on, the movie becomes very confusing to me. We start navigating through Joel's memories, and it's hard to understand where in the story we are. Are we at the beginning, the end, a middle point? Anyone watching can easily get lost. Some people might enjoy this puzzle-like structure, but personally, I didn't. I found it confusing and honestly a bit boring. That whole middle section felt longer than it needed to be. The movie only becomes interesting again near the end when Joel and Clementine realize that their memories were erased or at least damaged by the procedure. Even without remembering everything, they feel echoes of each other. Those emotional fragments pull them back together, almost like something inside them refuses to let go completely. The premise is brilliant, but the execution feels flawed. A big part of the movie is confusing and, to me, dull. They used practical effects instead of CGI to keep the budget down. Some people loved that choice, but I'm not sure I did. At one point, the film was even considered as an animated project to better represent the chaos inside the mind. Maybe that would have helped, or maybe not. even with a simpler approach, I was confused. Another thing that caught my attention, and this is a personal observation, but I think it applies to real life, involves Clementine herself. She's charismatic, energetic, funny, bold, and extremely likable, but something about her worries me in a real-life context. Her constantly changing hair color. Throughout the movie, she switches to different vibrant colors, and each one represents a different stage of the relationship. Red represents the beginning, passion, excitement, emotional intensity, a brand new love where everything feels magical. Green represents the middle phase, renewal, trying again, emotional transition, not the beginning anymore, but not the end either. Orange is the most chaotic phase, impulsive behavior, emotional explosions, instability, conflict, unpredictable reactions. And then we get blue, the most iconic color associated with Clementine. Blue represents the post-breakup stage, emotional distance, sadness, disconnection, the desire to escape everything. Joel sees her with blue hair right before learning she erased him from her memory. It marks the end. Every color matches a chapter of their relationship, and I think that's a brilliant artistic choice. But here comes my personal observation, and this is a personal observation, but I think it applies to real life. Women who dye their hair in very bright, unusual colors or have lots of tattoos often show signs of emotional instability. Clementine is full of life and incredibly likable, but in the real world, someone with that profile can be hard to deal with. I've never met someone who got a tattoo during a happy moment. It was always during a period of sadness, dissatisfaction, or emotional turmoil. Tattoos can symbolize rebellion, frustration, or unresolved issues. If you want a serious commitment, you should think twice. And the same goes for vibrant hair colors. People do it because they want attention or because they're dealing with internal struggles. To give you an example, the last woman I met with bright red hair stabbed her boyfriend in the neck during an argument. She was extremely hot-tempered. Anything could set her off. So I personally don't recommend dating people with lots of tattoos or brightly colored hair. The chances of emotional instability are high. Even if someone like Clementine came into my life and showed interest in me, I'd be very cautious. In fact, I'd probably distance myself even if she was nice because the signs worry me. But the most important point of the film, the biggest lesson it offers, is actually very simple. Pain is part of your memories, and your memories are part of who you are. As Joel and Clementine erase memories of each other, they're also erasing parts of themselves. And the film asks the powerful question, if you could erase someone who hurt you, would you still be you afterward? I've had people hurt me too, but even if I had the chance to erase them, I wouldn't, because those painful memories helped shape the person I am today. Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind reminds us that love is never perfect. It's messy, confusing, flawed, and filled with mistakes, but still worth trying. Even knowing the pain they caused each other, Joel and Clementine choose to try again. That vulnerable, imperfect decision says more about real love than any idealized memory ever could. The film ultimately teaches that there is no love without risk and no growth without pain, and that despite everything, there is always something inside us that insists on trying one more time. That's all for now. Session closed. If all goes well, see you in the next video. Until then,